Okay, so we're working on a new task called EFA purchase order. And what this task is we are going to create a new Blazor report for the purchase order. So let me go ahead and first show you where it is in master and then give you instructions for the next step. So if we go here, so this is master and this is the purchase order report. And this is what it looks like currently in master. So if you click PDF, it goes here and it shows this purchase order report. So we need to convert this report to a Blazor report. And so the first thing we need to consider and need to do is we need to pass in the purchase order ID. And that's going to be from this table here, LTS purchase order. We need to pass in the purchase order type ID and the vendor address ID, which should be the primary address that goes to the vendor. So we need to pass those parameters into the API. So this is what the report looks like in master, and this is good. And so what we want to do, our main goal, is we want to have the same content. You know, we want the data to be the same in the labels, but the actual style and layout of the report is going to look like our new reports that we have inside of MOA. So let me give you an example. So here is EFA type. Here is an, let me just close out everything here. So here is an EFA agreement. If you go to the agreement tab, this right here is one of the new reports that we have done. And so here, equipment finance agreement, date, and you can see the layout is very different, okay? So if I go to the report again, just kind of explain that one more time. The next step of what we want to do. So here's what the report looks like in master. So for example, we want to have Med1 and then we want to have a title called purchase order and then show the lesser. So if you go here, we'll have Med1 purchase order and then lesser underneath it. And then here we can have the date, and then we can probably have the purchase order number right here, and then supplier, which would be the vendor. We'll have a label here called vendor, which will have the name and the address, so it looked kind of like that. And then ship to, we'll have over here, we'll have ship to, and then the customer name, and then address, and then the address. So we want to have the same content, but the styles and layout is going to look like this one with this existing Blazor report that we have in master. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And so the next step, I want you to just do this next step. So I want you to get the header to work. I want you to get the header with the purchase order and the lease name, the lesser name, the date, the purchase order, put in the supplier and the address, and then put in the ship to and the name and then the address. So get that stuff working and passing in the correct parameters, because the parameters that we want to pass in is the purchase order ID, the PO type ID, and the vendor address ID. So let's start with that. And then another tool that you have is you can see what the old report is doing. And a way to do that, if you go here and you go to, and you can, if you can't get this to work on your machine, you can log into my machine and play around with it. Let me give you the password here. So if you go here, go to, I think it's machines, or no, you can call. This should be my dev machine. And so here's the URL. I'll send this to you right now, just in case you can't get it to work on your machine. So here's the URL, and then username and password. And if you go here, window connection center, go edit. So this is my connection. So the PC name is this, mcall. So if you can't get in, if you can't get this report to work on your machine, you can use my machine. So this is helpful because you can see what the old report is doing to display and capture and to fetch the data. And so if you look here, it has a label supplier, and then you can go here and you can right click and you can look at expression, and you can see, you know, what is the expression it's used to display that data. And then here you can go here and go properties. You can say, okay, it comes from this, and then you can go down here and you can see vendor address data source. So this is the vendor address and this is the data source. So you can right click on that, and then you can go here and you can look, okay, this is the actual query SQL code that it uses to get the data. And so this can give you an understanding of what you need to do in the API to get the correct data to display on the report. So this is helpful. And so in summary, let me just give you in summary. So in summary, the next step, this is the report. Create the new report, show the header, the supplier, the ship to, and make it look like
unknown caller.
this. Hello? So get it to look like that. So yeah, the next